Oh, it's Trent. Hope everyone's had a good week. Fucking finally Friday, so that's amazing. And I got a good one for Friday, right? We got a bad trip story. So, I was a sophomore when this happened, and this was like 2 days or 3 days after I quit football, right? And it was during my little acid binge. And I remember this pretty well, but it was also not the best experience, so whatever I can forget is fine with me. But so I'm used to taking acid in this time, right? And at the time I'd never tried shrooms, but I'd only tried acid, right? And I'd only tripped with the same two people every time, or alone. And I'd done it about maybe 5-7 times, right? Well, I get a call from this kid that used to be on the football team with me, right? And he's like, yo, me and my friend are gonna trip. Do you want to join? I'm like, yes, absolutely, especially since I don't have to pay for it. Like, you know what I mean? So he's like, okay, we're still figuring out what we're gonna get, but we're gonna trip soon. I'll let you know when. So it leaves my mind, right? Like a week and a half later, he hits me up and he's like, yo, we're gonna take these seeds, these LSA seeds that are like acid. That's what they told me, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is that? Never heard of it, right? Start Googling it, and it's like morning glory seeds, something weird, right? And you can Google it, but I start looking into it, and I'm like, okay, it says it's kind of similar, but it's used for like planting shit, you know, and like you plant it, and I'm like reading the things on it, and it's like, if you read about acid, it's like, this will fuck you up, basically, in scientific words, you know, but I'm reading this like it's similar, but it's not the same, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, okay, whatever, you know, underestimated it. So, he comes and picks me up, and there's another kid with him, and we go to this, we plan to go to this hiking trail, and these are both bigger kids, right? So I'm thinking like, we're not going to be hiking a lot. We're just going to find somewhere cool to sit there and trip, right? Well, our initial plan, right, was something like that, or take it and walk around this, like we're on a path, or on a walking path, and it's like a hiking trail, so you can go up, but you don't have to, right? So, we each get these, how did we take, oh yeah, we got these, like, little big pill things, and inside there was probably like 10 to 12 of those seed things. They weren't big, but you could fit a lot of them in there, right? And he gave a warning. He's like, yo, it says when you take these, right, there's a good chance you'll get nauseous, but it'll pass. So I'm like, all right, whatever, you know? And for a time frame, I had a Posh, right? But it was the white lychee, you know what I'm talking about? It was the white one. So, I don't even know if they have those anymore, but that's the fucking Posh I had. Ended up falling off a cliff. I know I have a picture of that somewhere. Yeah, it is, so I'll see if I can find it. I was trying to think if it was that same time. It was, because I was tripping balls on the cliff. But anyways, let's keep going. So we take it, right? And we start walking. We probably walked for 5-10 minutes. Like, we barely walked at all, right? And my stomach's starting to hurt. Like, 0 to 10 real quick. Like, every couple steps it's tightening. It's getting like painful, and I'm like, ignore it, Trent, ignore it, you know? Obviously, like, you can tell if you're gonna throw up, you know? And it felt like I was going to. My mouth was getting wet. My stomach literally feels like it's like tightening to nothing. I'm like, just keep ignoring it. And we're walking along this path talking. And we get to a split where you can go straight or you can go left, and you start going uphill, you know? You start going up, like you're not climbing, but you know what I mean? It's steep. So, group effort, we take a left. Right after we took that left is when everybody kind of started feeling it, because one of the kids was like, yo, I'm starting to see little tracers and stuff. How about you guys? I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely feeling trippy and seeing things, but I'm too focused on my stomach. This bitch hurts, right? And he's like, nausea's a part of the thing. That's what he kept saying. But it wasn't helping my mental, you know what I mean? My stomach hurt. like real bad. Like oh. So we keep walking, and we're starting to get up to this cliff, and we're about 5-10 feet away, and I feel it, right? I'm like, oh, this is when I'm gonna throw up. So I go and I sit down all quick. That's when I think the posh fell, because after that I couldn't find it, or it could have been because I was tripping. But either way, it fell off sometime around then. So anyways, I sit down quickly, literally like at the top of a cliff. Like you can look over, and there's no rails or anything, but it's like you'd fall if you took a step. That's how steep it is, like there isn't needing to be a rail, because why the fuck would you walk over there unless you want to fall down a cliff, So sitting there, and it really started to pick up. My nausea was already like 100 out of 100. I was gonna throw up either way, but the visuals really started fucking with me, which made the nausea worse, right? So I was like, oh, I can't do this. And I leaned up over, like, my head, so it was over the cliff line thing, and I fucking puked so much, straight downhill. If there was anybody on that path underneath us, oh, I'm sorry, because I let it go, just fucking liquid, and it was so nasty colored and, like, looking, it was so gross. So, finished throwing up, right? And then I'm like, fuck, that was rough. And my friends, the kids, they're looking at me like, are you good? And I'm like, yeah, let's just sit here for a minute. They're like, okay, we're going to walk for like 2-3 minutes. We'll be back, because they didn't feel like shit, but we were all tripping. They wanted to go see shit. So they go walk for a minute, and I could just kind of sit there laying back, sipping on this water I had. And that's how you know I was tripping hard, because I fucking don't drink water, but I was just sipping that water, trying to be okay, right? So they come back to me, and they're like, yo, there's a family coming. Like, we're starting to trip really hard. How about you? And I'm just sitting there and getting higher by the second, right? And I underestimated those seeds. Maybe we took too many. I don't know, but it fucked with me. So we start walking down, right? Because we don't want this family to see us. And it felt like we were walking fast as fuck, but about 3-4 minutes later, we hear, excuse me? And we look back, and it's the family, and they're like, can we pass you? And we're like, okay. And they go past us, which only leads me to think, how slow could we have been walking? Like, were we just really fucked up, walking weird, Like, how could a whole family fucking pass us that was behind us, and then we were trying to avoid, It doesn't make sense. Anyways, we walking down the path back towards the car, right? And that's when, I can't remember if it was me or my friend, somebody spotted the posh. And I was high out of my mind, so I was not expecting that. It wasn't even, like, in my realm of thought of a possibility that I dropped it or couldn't find it or anything. I was just high as fuck. And then I saw it, and it had all these scuff marks on it, and it's completely white, but it's got, like, black shit all over it. Well, we get back to the car, and everybody's feeling like shit. Like, everybody's stomach's starting to hurt, but mine was, I already threw up, and it was still hurting, pretty bad. So I'm laying in the back seat, like, completely out, clutching my stomach with the door open, right, in case I gotta throw up more. And they're in the front seats with them, like, you know how you can lay the seat back? They got the seats laid back, and they're just kind of, like, laying there with the music going, all feeling like shit, but also, at this point, it wasn't like a bad trip, I wasn't scared or like freaking out or anything, I was like, okay, I feel like shit, but it was like a calm, like it wasn't crazy, but it was crazy walking back to the car. But when I was laying there, it was just kind of calm, right? Until not the kid whose idea it was to trip, but the friend, he got up out of the car and threw up so much, and that made me feel 1,000 times worse somehow. I texted my fucking mom, right? I was like, yo, are you busy? She's like, no, I'm working, whatever, like, getting off of work. I was like, can you come pick me up? So she comes and picks me up, right? And I leave, feeling like absolute shit, laying in the back of my mom's truck. She's like, what's wrong with you, And I was like, oh, we went on a hike, and I got dehydrated. Meanwhile, I'm tripping fucking balls back there. Like, I'm just laying there feeling like shit, and it wasn't calm anymore like it was for that little second. Like, I don't know if it was new environment or the fact I was with my mom or the fact I'm going home. I don't know. My judgment was cloudy, and I felt like shit. So I'm in the back of this truck, going. Finally get home, right? My mom opens the back door for me, and I kind of lurch my way out, get to the front yard, and fucking puke everywhere, even some more. And I walked upstairs to this room, got in this bed, and slept for like 12 hours. So, you know, it wasn't horrible. It wasn't a bad trip in the aspect of, like, I was scared, like, for my life, like, the one time with the acid, but, like, it wasn't a good time, you know? I felt like shit, and I was stressed out. There wasn't a whole lot of fun, you know? But, yeah, that was, the bad trip in the woods, or bad trip, I don't know what I'm gonna call it, but also, if anyone wants to look into it, or what I took, LSA seeds, or when you look it up, it pops up as morning glory seeds, I don't know. But, thank you for watching. New stories next week, and I'll have gaming videos this weekend. Thank you.